Audubon 2456.
We are back with State of the Save with part 2 of Batman Arkham Asylum, our wonderful playthrough of the game. Once again, thank you for joining us. I am Eric. With me as always is Michael. How you doing, Michael?
Everything's quite dandy.
Dandy. We are in the Halloween season. It is nice and cold.
Oh,
and
sorry, spooky. I'm spooky.
Yeah, you're spooky. You're supposed to be like haunted Michael now. We have to have dumb Halloween names.
Mike Ghoul Cuts.
Yes, Mike Ghoul Cuts. It's like the Misfits.
Yeah.
We're like the Misfits now. Evil Eric, Mike Ghoul Cuts. That's the plan. This is what we gotta lean into. This is how we get the Halloween bump, don't you know? But yeah, it is the nice fall season. It's getting cool in the air. Things are getting nice outside. And so it's a wonderful time to stay inside and play video games and not enjoy the fall.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Enjoy the fall from the inside of your home. Look out the window and be like, it's falling leaves.
Yeah, it's cold out there. I don't want to be out there. What are you talking about?
It's my favorite season. My wife hates it. Once it falls below 80, she's like, I'm freezing and I want to die.
I like hoodie weather. I like the hoodie weather. I don't want 2 coats and, 2 pairs of socks. I don't want that kind of weather, but I like hoodie weather. Hoodie weather I'm a fan of.
Cardigan weather. Cardigans and jeans.
Do I strike you as a cardigan guy, Michael?
No, but like
I'm a jeans
bouncing off of that.
Jeans tank top and hoodie is what I've been rocking. Because then when it gets hot in the afternoon, you can put the tank top on. You're prepared for all seasons.
Not to divert this to wrestling.
Yes.
I apologize.
Oh, yes. Okay. What a shame.
You know who is a cardigan guy?
Who is?
Elias.
That doesn't surprise me.
That man was wearing a huge cardigan when I met him. Very nice guy.
I'm sorry, Michael. Are you talking about Ezekiel by chance?
Wait, what? No. What did
Elias has been
do
missing.
to my boy?
His brother Ezekiel now wrestles. Don't you know? This is a real thing. You're looking at me like you don't believe me, but this guy named Ezekiel just walked out one day who looks like Elias without a beard, and we've been told to believe that him and Elias are 2 separate people.
Okay, I kind of love this.
It's something.
Does he also play guitar, or does he play like
No, he doesn't have
something?
any guitar ability because he's not Elias.
Well, I don't know if he has like a different if he comes out there and plays the recorder.
I like the idea that they give him a different instrument. That was back when Vince McMahon was in charge of things, so he probably make him play the banjo. That's good shit, pal. That's good shit. Man, wrestling can be pretty dumb.
What? No. When has it ever?
Always. It doesn't mean I don't love it. No, I can be also pretty dumb. Video games can be pretty dumb. I like video games, but boy, they can be pretty dumb.
Some would say they're the best when they're dumb.
Yeah, sometimes. There's a level of dumb I can't take. Batman Arkham Asylum is our game that we're discussing today. Part 2 of it. If you didn't have a chance to listen to part 1, please go back and do so. It's a good episode. But before we do that, as always, let's talk about other video games. Yeah. It's almost like we have a format to this show that we have to follow.
What?
Yeah, what a shame.
Structure, what's that?
I don't know. We spent 3.5 minutes talking about Ezekiel and Elias from wrestling. So I don't know why we even care about the structure. No, but other video games we have been playing. Michael, you mentioned that you have been playing Legend of Zelda: The Skyward Sword again.
Yes.
How did this happen?
A chain of events, one might say.
How all good stories start.
So, I've been plugging at the end of the show that on our YouTube channel, I've been making highlight reels of me playing the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time randomized. I have finally bested that game. It's been quite a journey, some highs and lows, but I finally beat Ganon, went on a nostalgia trip of that ending, that wonderful end-credit sequence, remembering, the music here is so good, all the, side characters and NPCs just dancing around a campfire at the end is...
Everybody just do.
Basically, it warmed my heart in a way that I wasn't expecting at the end of this long journey. So pair that with the reveal of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And it all...
Yeah, with that wonderful timed reveal.
Well, they said they weren't going to stream it in the UK, and you're like, why'd they do that? Then they showed the game, and you went,
I would have done it anyway, but you know my feelings on these kind of things.
I mean, they could just pull up a live stream of the American version, which is funny because the date format is the exact opposite. So people in the UK thought the game's coming out May 12th. They thought December 5th.
Yeah. As someone who works in the shipping business and got in trouble recently about not writing the date in the way that people in Australia writes dates, not a big fan. Not a big fan. We should all just settle this and come up with one way to write a date. Yes. So you have been on the Zelda track, so it has taken you to the logical location of Skyward Sword of all games. Because
it is the one 3D Zelda I never finished.
Okay, now you are playing the Switch version.
I am playing the Switch version, and so the preferred way I prefer to play this game is on the controller, although the game does pretty well with the motion controls. The gyro on the Switch is better than the gyro on the Wii was, for starters, and but one thing that's a lot more fun on the controller is like the exploration stuff. Trying to explore and do like the environmental puzzles with the motion controls can be a little frustrating versus just point in the controller and then use the gyro on the controller to kind of fine tune your shots. Like aim your bow, but if like enemy moves to the left, you can like do a quick gyro motion with the hand.
It's an added level of control, not a primary way of aiming the bow.
Exactly, but I feel like the combat is more fun on the motion controls because the entire game is built around those. So on the controller format, the way you swing is on the right stick because everything in the game is based on like directional. You click the stick in to do a thrust, and then up to swing up, down to swing down, etc. All those motions. Hold the sword up. Hold the sword straight up in the air. It's all angle based, exactly. And because of that, combat on the motion controls, when you're fighting an enemy that's like more like the sword fighting strategic enemies, that's a lot more fun on motion controls because it's all about positioning and angling your hand, then using the left Joy-Con to move your arm forward to do a like parry.
Yeah.
So to do a parry and then a slash just feels
it's supposed to be more strategic. You're putting the sword in the right spot to hit the guy from the right angle.
Yeah, exactly. And you have enemies that'll block like certain ways and then immediately parry you and knock you back if you hit the wrong way. So that's a lot of fun. I had a save from a year ago where I put 10 hours in, so I was about 3 dungeons into the game. I am now doing like the exploration bits to the 4th dungeon. I don't need to finish it to tell you this is probably the weakest 3D Zelda, which I'm sure a lot of people say that about Skyward Sword. It is a perfectly serviceable game that I'm having fun doing, but there is some monotonous stuff in this, even more so than other Zeldas. I can see why they looked at this kind of like Tomb Raider Underworld, where you're like, all right, we need to switch something up. Something's got to give here.
Wait, is it Skyward Sword then?
Breath of the Wild.
It's not Twilight Princess before that?
Twilight Princess, it goes Ocarina, Majora, Wind Waker, then Twilight Princess, then Skyward Sword.
Okay.
Then Breath of the Wild.
I always had my those swapped in my head for some reason. But yeah, Skyward Sword is right before Breath of... Yeah, okay, it kind of is a good... okay, maybe we lost the plot here. Let's back up and punt and see what we need to do to get this, right the ship kind of situation. Which I think makes it interesting. Like when we played Tomb Raider Underworld, it is interesting to see that last game before the big revolutionary one, right?
Yeah.
Because it is like, what made you take this step back and say we have to right the ship here, and it doesn't always have to be a bad game.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can just be a game that just doesn't have the soul to it, right? And I think that was one thing we talked about with like Underworld, where Underworld was rushed, but it wasn't necessarily a bad game. It was just, it had no soul to it, Yeah. It was just rushed and there.
And I don't want to say Skyward Sword doesn't have a soul, because it really is charming. Like, all the character stuff is great. It just feels like the padding is so much just like, please, just let me get to the next thing. I'm done running around the same environments over and over again before I get to the next dungeon, because the dungeons are pretty fun in this game. And I'm told, like, of a few later dungeons, which are some of the best in 3D Zelda, so I'm really excited to get to those. One dungeon in particular that involves shifting the entire dungeon between past and future.
Okay.
And having to, like, do puzzles in the past and now influence, like, placement and item stuff in the future. And I'm like, that stuff is cool. That's the stuff I love from Zelda.
Well, that's the thing they did right with Breath of the Wild, right? It made the stuff outside of dungeons still enjoyable. It made it more like it's... Because your kind of iconic moments in Zelda are just the dungeons, and everything else is getting to the dungeons. I mean, I know there's some exceptions here and there, but that's mostly true, right? I mean...
Not really. I mean, the dungeons are for sure, like, the highlight and, like, some of the main takeaway, but, like, if the getting to the dungeon isn't as fun as the dungeon, then you just have, like, a slog. Like,
but I'm saying that's what you're saying, though, right? With this.
With it, yeah, it is a slog to get to the dungeon.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, like, that's... But with Breath of the Wild, they made the whole experience of, like, adventuring throughout the world the kind of the showcase.
And the dungeons were the weak point of that game.
True. But I would say it wasn't as big of a deal. Now, from like, I haven't played a ton of Breath of the Wild. I played a decent amount of it. But that experience of adventuring throughout the world was good enough that I didn't really care that the dungeons were just okay.
Exactly.
Because you spent more time in the world than you did in the dungeons.
Because that's 95% of the game versus, like, the 5 to 10% in the dungeons.
I don't know. It just... I'm curious. I'm not a Zelda guy. Like, I have played a few of them. It's not my series. That would be a Nick thing, if anything, and you've played a lot more than I have.
Nick is currently screaming listening to this.
I don't know if he's actually played Skyward Sword.
He has. He told me.
He has? Okay.
Now, I don't know if he's finished it, but I believe he's definitely started. He did a rant about how Skyward Sword was the worst one to do the remaster for.
I think he probably, if he did, I think he actually did finish that, if I think correct. I'll ask him next time I see him. But, like, that's, of the three of us, he would be the expert, and then you would be behind him. Just for me, nothing outside of the dungeons has ever been the thing that's really, like, hooked me. I'm sitting here, I don't know if I want to go back to Zelda Breath of the Wild.
If I suggested one pre-Breath of the Wild 3D Zelda for you, I would either say Majora's Mask or Twilight Princess.
I have not played Twilight Princess. I've fiddled around with Majora's Mask, but not enough to actually say that I have a grasp on it. I like the concept a lot more. I think if I do go back, it would be those. Even Twilight Princess even doesn't really... Something that doesn't really appeal to me. I would go back to probably Majora's Mask, or even, like, I don't know. I think if I want to play like a Zelda before Breath of the Wild, I would go back to, like, the Game Boy ones and stuff like that. That's the stuff that more interests me.
Okay.
But yeah, it's interesting. I'm not a super Zelda fan, but I just look at that and I just can't see why that was a priority, but that's just me. Anything else to say about that?
That's it for me.
I played on the opposite end of the spectrum. I played Modern Warfare 2's beta, apparently. I am not a diehard Call of Duty fan. I play the quote-unquote good ones. I try to, fiddle around with the ones that I hear are specifically unique or different. The last one I think I played was the Modern Warfare, like, 2019, release.
Yeah.
And I liked that one. This is the direct sequel to that. I do not care about the lore. I do not care about Warzone. I hopped on here. I played a couple of games of what was basically like a search and destroy. Like, it's about, like, grabbing a money bag. Played the first maybe 5 or 6 games of that. Realized that Call of Duty lobbies are still the worst lobbies in video games, because when I started the game, usually I mute anybody that I don't know.
You can't survive a Modern Warfare 2 lobby?
Oh, yeah. Snowflake over here, don't you know? Just bombarded with, like, early 2000s lobbies. I was like, no one has ever changed. This Halo 2 lobbies in here. Nothing has ever changed in the Call of Duty universe. But then I played their kind of Battlefield mode, which is like the big, large-scale maps, has vehicles, has, all sorts of stuff there. And that was actually really damn good. I actually really, really enjoyed that. They had that in the in Modern Warfare, and it wasn't what I wanted. Playing this, it was great. Like, it felt good. Weapons felt good. All the different kill streaks and stuff like that worked well on that large scale kind of fight.
I think since then they probably learned a lot from Warzone of how to make like bigger maps
Also,
with terrain and vehicles.
This also does the Titanfall thing.
Okay, go on.
Of giving you a bunch of AI enemies that are in the field too. With
Okay,
you.
yeah.
So
all right.
they don't count. I might be wrong here. They don't count towards your kill streaks. So you can't farm AI enemies. So like killing an AI enemy gets you like 5 points. Killing a human enemy gets you like 20. But if you want to get your kill streaks up, you have to kill regular human enemies. But the ability to kind of kill the AI enemies and also have your own AI guys, I don't know, it worked. I did pretty well in it. I finished top of the game a couple of times. I felt pretty good about that. It was good. I liked that. I don't know if it's enough to make me want to play Modern Warfare 2 this year. I don't know if that's going to sell me on that game. But it definitely felt good. I like that mode a lot. And maybe that's where I need to be in Call of Duty in the year 2022. I like the large scale. It was more Battlefield than last Battlefield game was.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it felt pretty good. I was a fan. I also was fiddling around at the same time with Deathloop because that came to Xbox. You talked very highly of Deathloop. You seemed to really enjoyed it.
A 8 out of 10 video game through and through.
Okay, I'll set the stage here. I had about 5 days when it was just me and my baby. My oldest and my wife went to visit family up in Philadelphia, and so I was like, I had a lot more time on my hands. Baby goes to bed at 6:30. I got all night to do stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna knock out a bunch of this Deathloop, and I played like the first 2 to 3 hours. I liked what I played. I liked Colt as a main character. Mm-hmm. I didn't know it was going to be as funny as it was. Like, he's a really kind of funny character, and I like the concept of the game.
The banter between him and Juliana is incredible.
Yeah, it's good. I like all of that. I don't like the shooting in this first-person shooter.
Yeah.
We played Dishonored, and I played some of Prey too, and it feels very much like Arcane style gameplay, and the shooting just didn't ring true with me, and I just really kind of struggled to get a grasp on like how that felt. It just didn't feel good. I like some of the powers, and I know that I'll get better stuff as I go, but man, the shooting just didn't. It feels very light. It doesn't feel very chunky. And playing the Modern Warfare 2 beta right beside it, which, say what you want about Call of Duty games, but the shooting's damn good in those games because that's what they do. And then coming out right beside that, and what completely trumped my interest in playing more Deathloop was Prodeus came to Game Pass.
I saw that.
And you want to talk about 2 extremes. Deathloop is over here. Shooting feels kind of light. Things just don't feel chunky. Then you play Prodeus, which is a game preview, technically. It's still a game preview. But things are chunky in Prodeus. When you hit shit, you feel it. You blow an enemy apart, it feels, there's just rain of gore. And I want my shooting to feel chunky. I want to feel like I got some weight to things. And played about 2 or 3 hours of Deathloop. Played the first mission of Prodeus. Never went back to Deathloop. Oh. I have played I think I'm almost done. I think with Prodeus, and I've also played some multiplayer. And
I saw that and went,
goddamn great.
I bet Eric's gonna play this game. I scrolled down. It's like you have a friend already playing this. It's Eric.
Yes,
he's playing it right now. I'm like,
yes.
Oh, okay.
That
makes sense. That
Prodeus it's very much like Doom inspired. It's a retro first-person shooter, but it takes a lot from like more modern first-person shooters. It takes a lot from games like Doom Eternal and things like that.
Okay. That seems to be, we looped Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal took a lot from like the classic games, so it's funny that we're looping back around, and now classic-inspired games are taking a lot from the Doom remaster.
Yeah.
Doom is influential no matter when it comes out.
Exactly.
Doom 3 even was influential.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think also ages better than people give it credit for. I think Doom 3 today feels better than it probably did at the time.
We should put that to the test next season.
I would play Doom 3. I would play Doom 3. But this, it's so good, man. It's more than just a retro first-person shooter. It has all that good stuff from those, the secret environments and secret, spots to find and stuff like that. But the level design is super interesting and a lot better than a lot of like classic like boomer shooters do. It's a lot more than just hallway running.
Is it like labyrinthian switches, keys?
Yes, and it's got that level to it of finding keys and stuff like that. But you never get lost. But what I like about it is they break the formula a lot. Like they'll give you. I did a level last night that was based around. The level starts off with 2 enemy snipers in a place you can't shoot back at, and you spend the entire level dodging those snipers. And I'm playing on like the equivalent of hard, so like one sniper shot takes me from 100 down to like 20, and they hit you back to back. So you spend the entire level playing around the fact that there's from this right side you always can be hit by these snipers.
Okay.
And so like it's stuff like that kind of break like the traditional boomer shooter level design, where they do more interesting stuff than that. They do environmental kills and stuff like that. It's damn good. It's in game preview. I haven't seen any reason why it's in game preview. Like I don't see any obvious like bugs or crashes or anything like that. I do like that there's a rating system for each level. They ask your opinion on each level. They're like, hey man, how you like this?
Is it good, bad? What do you think?
They even do that with the store. There's a store level that you go in to buy stuff, and every time you leave that, it's like, how you feel about the store? But yeah, it's really, really good. Prodeus on the Game Pass. Definitely worth checking out. I probably will finish that in like a day.
Good name. I got one question. You said you're playing on the hard equivalent. Are the difficulty names funny or cheeky in a way?
I don't think so.
Oh, darn. Okay.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. I
okay.
just picked hard because usually that's what I go with on these kind
All
of
right,
things.
I'm writing my beta report now. It says make funny difficulty names.
They do have the face at the bottom of the screen like in Doom.
Okay.
And your guy goes from a regular guy to, as he takes damage, it rips his face off and becomes a Terminator face.
Okay, yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
That's pretty good.
That's kind of cool. It's just like the war is against chaos.
Chaos, you say?
Yeah, demons. Yeah, fighting demons.
Let me pull up some Limp Bizkit.
Yeah. We fight demons that are coming through portals. Tell me if you've heard this before.
What? What? Are we on a different planet, perhaps?
Yeah, we're on a different planet.
A red one?
It looks sort of like Mars. So, yeah, they wear their influences on their sleeves. I will go back and play Deathloop. I know I will. Like I said, I like everything around it. I like the concepts. I like the world building. I like the way they track things. Where it says Holt makes little notes like, oh, this guy comes and unlocks this case to this weapon at night, so I can come back at night and get this gun, and stuff like that. I like all of that. Just the shooting itself, just arcane style of movement works very well for the stealth aspects. Like Dishonored in particular, it worked really well, and like in Deathloop that has a lot of stealth and stuff, it works well for that. I just don't like how it feels when you get into combat because it just feels so light.
I will say one thing. I would go for the shift ability first and making sure that is the one you have locked in, because once you have the ability to move on rooftops over people, the game becomes like a lot of fun, I would say.
Oh, I'm going to stick with it. Don't get me wrong.
It's worth checking.
Some of it is that I know that it will improve as abilities unlock and stuff like that. And because I like the ward and I like the concept, I am willing to stick with it. It was just kind of like when playing through it. And I think some of it's also because I was playing Prodeus at the same time. which has good chunky shooting. I just got done playing Wolfenstein: The Old Blood that has good chunky shooting. I want some weight to things.
Chunky is the word of the day.
Yeah, chunky. But I want some weight to it. Like especially in the past few years, the shooters I enjoy the most has some weight to things. When things hit, they connect. There's some power behind it. And when I was getting to combat here for the first time, it's like a section where you're shooting in just the streets. And I realized when I was hitting the enemies, like they don't have like good feedback on the hits. So enemies just kind of stand there and take bullets and shoot back at you. And I want some chunk to it, man. I want to feel like I'm doing something. And also I realized I was already so mobile that it was a completely valid strategy just to run away from everybody and they wouldn't catch me. And that kind of disappointed me because I was able to just like sprint away when I was low in health and just be like, fuck all y'all. And yeah, the combat itself kind of put me off, but I like everything else that surrounds it. So I'm going to give it enough time to get some abilities in me because I know that's when things are supposed to heat up. But the first initial impression just kind of, I was like, man, everything around this is great, but I wish this didn't feel like an arcane game. I wish somebody put some weight to this thing. And I imagine that'll improve with the abilities, but yeah, Deathloop. It didn't strike me the way I wanted it to. I was ready. My body was ready, but the game just didn't make me feel the way I had hoped.
I kind of want to go back to it and see if I can load a near end save because apparently they made some improvements on that ending, so it might be worth checking out. I don't know if I want to watch it. I want to like try to see if I can make that ending run.
Yeah.
One more time.
It'll be better to just actually experience it.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I've been down this episode. Like I was like Skyward Sword. I just can't care. And the Deathloop. I just the combat didn't grab me. And like I said, I was actually pleasantly surprised with the Modern Warfare beta. I thought it was actually not bad. The community still sucks on Modern Warfare. I also made the mistake of watching a couple of TikToks, which now TikTok thinks like I'm a Call of Duty fan. So it's just feeding me guys with backward hats and Monster Energy drinks being like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 has already ruined the game with this new meta. And it's like, motherfucker, it was a 3-day beta.
I've heard so many people mad about rank-based matchmaking.
They're mad about... My favorite thing was, this is just me, like, from the TikTok algorithm feeding me all guys with backward hats and Monster Energy drinks to tell me why Modern Warfare 2 has ruined the meta. The things they are mad about, it was impossible for me to fully grasp because it is a beta. Like, they blamed a lot about the rank-based, matchmaking, which strikes me as they probably want to go into lobbies with people significantly not as skilled as them so they can have all their clips. Because if you see, like, a lot of these guys who are big in, like, Warzone, they would post clips of them, like, wiping, like, 6 and 7 people. And they're obviously very good at this game, but they also seem like they're playing bots. Like, the people they are killing, like, don't face the right direction when they're getting shot. Or proceed to take, like, 2 bullets and run away and just get shot in the back. And it's like, yes, you should probably play people in more competitive level of skill with you. You shouldn't be playing these people. Also, they complain a lot about, like, gun balance already in a beta, which is all about finding out how balance should work. It was very odd. It seems like it's a very reactionary thing, and it's one of the things that turns me off of, like, most multiplayer games is communities that are so obsessed with everything sucking that you forget to enjoy the game. It turned me off of Apex.
I was like, Apex was
Apex
that.
got like that, where everything sucked. And it's like, okay, well, why are you even playing this? You get into a game, and your entire squad would be like, don't have a Sentinel. Sentinels are broken. And it's like, last week you told me Sentinels sucked.
Is it Overwatch 2 next week?
Yeah, I saw that. As a guy who cared very deeply about Overwatch for a long time, I sit there and I'm like, it just doesn't feel like a sequel. It feels like a stopgap kind of thing, and I'm like looking at it and I don't know. The older I've gotten, the less I care about those kind of competitive multiplayer experiences. I want things that are a lot more, less kind of like that esportsy kind of vibe. Because the more esportsy it gets, the less fun people seem to have with it. Like everyone wants to get in and be like, we gotta be super competitive. It's like, it's a video game. Let's have a little bit of fun. It's a Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Let's actually enjoy ourselves.
Oh, I'll check it out.
I liked Overwatch for a very, very long time. And when I fell off around the same time they did the forced team comp, where you had to have two defensive, two offensive, 2 supports, and 2 tanks, or whatever
Gotcha.
it was.
You should be able to put 5 Lucios on a team together.
It became a thing where that was the winning strategy, to have that kind of team comp. And instead of finding a way to balance around that, they just made that the game. And that's when I stopped caring, because I had more fun when you did stupid shit. Like, we've got a Bastion, Junkrat. Like, we just have, like, maximum damage output with no heals. And when you win like that, it was just hilarious. Like, I had a lot of fun beating very sweaty teams, just using Junkrat and stuff like that, just spamming people, because it was just insanity. And like, you were a glass cannon team, you just get wiped out if one thing went wrong. But it was fun, like a video game.
What?
And the less esports in my life I can get, the more happy I am. I just can't care. Which is why I do a podcast talking about old video games that aren't multiplayer games. But
brings you enjoyment back in the games a little bit.
Like I said, I think it comes from, I played a lot of competitive multiplayer games for a very, very, very long time, and the way the scenes in those games have changed, they've changed a lot into these very competitive, like, we play like the pros play kind of scenes. And it's like, that just does not appeal to me at all.
You can't bounce around with online games now. It's like you
have to
pick one, and it's like, this is your hobby now.
Yeah, it's like, I don't play video games, I play Call of Duty. Like, I meet a lot of people like that, where it's like, I only play one game, I play it for 4 years. And that's fine. Yeah. But it leads to this kind of environment of where you have to play like this. Why don't you have this gun? That's the meta gun. Well, that's also the boring gun. I don't want that gun. I want to see if I can kill people with this bolt-action rifle with no scope. It's like, I like that kind of level of enjoyment in my video games. I don't want to be playing meta stuff. It just doesn't interest me. And I feel less and less video games kind of lead into that. I think the last game that I really, truly enjoyed without having to deal with that bullshit was like the first few weeks of like Halo Infinite, where it's like, this is classic Halo feeling. And then all of a sudden the meta started sneaking in, and I was like, fuck all these people. Every time I get into this damn game, people are like, hey bro, you gotta push Central, don't you know?
That's okay, they're gonna add some content to change this up, right?
Yeah, I was hoping, yeah.
They're gonna add some content to change this up,
right?
We'll
get like actual Team SWAT eventually and stuff like that, but no.
Have they added anything to that?
I fell off of the fact that I fell off a Halo game that fast.
And it was like 0 to 60, like
I fell in love with it. Yeah, I loved that game when it came out. I was so excited. I liked the campaign, the open world campaign stuff. I had a ball playing that. The multiplayer was great, and then just nothing was added, and just nothing was added, and then nothing was added, and then they added some cosmetics that weren't that great. And it's like, I don't want new weapons. I just wanted maps. Just give me maps. And I didn't get anything. So I don't know what they've added. Maybe I'll get back into that and see if anything's changed. But I don't see anything. Like, I don't see, any news. Like, here's a new map dropped for Halo Infinite. Like,
it's always like, we're not adding features to Halo Infinite seems to be the news.
Yeah, or here's a helmet that's got cat ears. And it's like, okay, cool. But it'd be nicer if we had a new map. Halo 2 had a whole disc worth of maps. Like, they released a second disc that was like 8 maps or 9 maps. I remember buying that from the fucking GameStop. Come on. All right, we spent 35 minutes bitching about video games, so I have. I've apparently...
How about another hour of it?
Yeah, let's bitch about another... I think that might be why I'm irritable, because yeah. Oh, I have to do my Warhammer Kill Team update real quick. I played 2 games. I lost both of them. I lost one pretty bad.
Good update.
I lost the second one. I played a new player. I think his name was Victor, a friend of Nick's. Very, very competitive game. We went to the last round deep into it. I think I lost by like 2 points. But it was good to play somebody new. He played a good game. His first game he ever played, and he played a good game. So I feel better about my team after playing him because Nick's team is still broken. If you take anything from this show, know that Nick plays a broken team. Let's talk about Batman Arkham Asylum.
Let's talk about Batman Arkham Asylum.
I think that's where my rage comes from, because the more I think about this, the more this section here really, it wasn't bad. It just didn't live up to how great the first part was.
Every time I think of Arkham Asylum, I realize I think about two things. I think about, man, this game is friggin' awesome, which mostly comes from the first half. And, man, that last boss fight is stupid.
There is a lot of good stuff in this game. And as we get into this section, second part here, it stays strong for a little while. So, if you listened last time, we ended after the Harley fight, which for some weird reason, when I started up my save here, it made me replay it. Did
right?
It make you
yes.
do that?
I swear it saved.
It's saved. I know it, because I got done. I'm glad that I'm not the only one, because we're both playing the remastered edition, right? I beat Harley. I listened to her talk in the cell a few times. Let her, get some dialogue. I think Batman talks to Barbara about his next plan. I swear it saved.
You scanned her for prints, and then I got the Mr. Freeze riddle and was like, all right.
Yeah, I swear it saved.
Right here.
But
I had to do the riddle again. I was like, why did nothing saved from this
It was
section?
very weird.
Right. Okay, it wasn't just me.
No, it's not just you. I had to do the same thing. It stays strong here for a little bit because what you get is you're going to progress. I believe the next you get told that basically Joker's running some of his Titan formula stuff in the garden. Yeah, correct.
That's where the Titan production plant is.
Yeah, so that's where you're told, hey, this is where my next kind of place to go visit. It gives us another trail to follow with Harley's, prints. I go back and forth on that. They go to that well a lot, where it's the follow a trail of something.
Is this the last one they make you do? So it might just be front loaded. Then
yes,
because I think this is the last one. Because everywhere else you get a just an objective marker because because after that point you're backtracking. So I think it was just a way of being like, these new players don't know how to navigate this space, so we need to guide them through it. Essentially, is what I might take it as.
No, I agree with you. I just kind of wish they would have found a better way of doing it, because it was, yes, I believe this. You are right. This is the last time they do it, but you did it in the first part. Like, you had to do it like 7 or 8 times.
I can think of 3 others. The
you did
the alcohol on the guard's breath, the tobacco smoke.
You did the Sharp's blood.
Sharp's blood, and then the fingerprints.
But then you also
there might
did
be
the
one
doctor.
more.
You did the doctor.
The doctor's fingerprints.
Yeah, so that's
right.
5.
That was a lot, man.
Yeah. And I get what you're saying, and this is why I go back and forth on it. I like that it's a unique way of giving you like a line to go follow, which was, if you think about when this came out, there was a lot of games that were doing like big glowing lines to follow, to navigate environments. I always think about the Dead Space way of navigating environments, which is putting your hand down and just a straight fucking line that tells you where to go, which I don't think is bad, actually, but you know what I mean.
I feel like games in this era, they were overcompensating to some of the rigid design of the past, where being like, we don't want players to get lost, we need to hold their hand through every aspect.
I always go back to the podcast that Irrational did, where they talk about playtesting BioShock. And they had a guy in the playtesting group who never left the biosphere.
Because the game didn't tell him to.
The game didn't tell him to leave, so he stood there and got mad at the game because the game never told him to leave the biosphere. And I always think about that guy because
2007, that would be around when they were starting to design Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, I always think about that guy because they talk about it in their podcast. It was the old podcast, Irrational. I don't even know if it's available anymore. If you can find it, it was fascinating. It was about Irrational around the time that they were working on Infinite. They talked about a lot about playtesting. He's like, we have to playtest for that person just as much as the hardcore video gamer who knows, how to venture around an environment. And that was their justification for like things like the glowing arrow in BioShock and stuff like that. What pointed to, it was like an arrow or something. They justified.
Oh, right, I remember turning it off.
Yeah, but you turned it off, but it was there, because of people like that. But I get that that's kind of probably what they were thinking about, and I like that they tried to come up with a Batman-y thing to do that with.
Yeah.
But boy, was it just that? I think they went to the well too many times.
Yeah, because through a portion of this game, you're looking at the world through a color filter. And then once you get like to the sewers, especially with all the planets growing, I'm like, man, there's some sections in this game where the color work in this game is beautiful. Especially in the sewers, like the purples, greens, and reds pop out more than any other color. The sewer section in particular is very visually stunning. And the fact that like when you were in there, like in several sections of this game before, you're looking at it through a purple or a gray color filter.
Or like when you go out into the island itself, and you're looking out over the bay, and you see like the lights in the distance. That stuff's beautiful. And the fact that a lot of the game, when like you were following like Sharp's blood or Harley's handprints and stuff, like you could have that filter on, and it just kind of, you're missing out, And even like I go back and forth on the filter, even on things like combat, because yes, it's very effective to know where the enemies are at all times. But if you just turn that on every time you enter a room with the guys, as you gotta do like the takedown sequences, it becomes very detached. You're just staring at red skeletons through blue lenses, and it loses some of the I think the fun of it.
Yeah.
I wish there was a way to maybe like, I wish they would have leaned into like an option like you could scan.
Yeah.
Like scan the environment, see where things are, and then it's not something that's like a filter you have to turn on. And it's all hindsight.
They make it, everything that I'm going to bring up to have a problem with has a solution in the next game, Arkham City. For example, you have enemies during the stealth sequences with the jammer, so you can't use their detective vision. So you have to knock them out. So when you do get it back, you're more likely to use it, but you're also like, I know where everyone is based on play. I have a feel for this space.
Also, City is kind of an open world game, so you don't have all of the hunting a straight line to follow a trail stuff that this seems to have. I don't remember that in City as much.
It was more like visual cues in the environment. I was like, I gotta get to the Iceberg Lounge. It's a giant building, you can't miss it. Go to the front door.
You had a map that just you could pull up and,
I mean, there's a map here too.
Yeah, but there was times where the map would tell you where they were at, but then it would give you the trail too.
Yeah.
Well, no, on the trail stuff, you never got a map because you're supposed to follow the trail. I wish it would have been better to give you both options, because like as a player who can navigate the environment, it would be nice to just say like, hey, you can go to the medical wing, or you could follow, Gordon's tobacco. And it's like, okay, let me go to the medical wing. I can find the medical wing instead of following this, little trail. Because there was times where it's like, in like this Harley section right here, where Harley takes a specific route to go up a ladder or something. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I could have just used my grappling hook and got up there in 2 seconds, but instead I walked around the damn place to follow her. It sounds like I'm being negative, and I'm not trying to be, but I feel like they just front load that one mechanic too much. And it just got to the point where I was like, man, I'm looking at the world through this blue lens a whole lot. And I really don't like looking at the world through this blue lens. But, we're following Harley's trail to go to the gardens. I like the gardens. It's a cool environment.
There's a bit of story stuff here where there's radio speculating that because Batman hasn't been seen for a while, that Batman's, like, the media has declared Batman dead just because they haven't seen him for a while. Ryder, I think.
Yeah, right. He's like
Jack
the radio man who's you hear throughout the game a couple of different times.
Yeah, and on the way to the gardens, this is where all the main enemies kind of disappear, and now you have the jumper dudes.
Yeah.
You have to time the counter right so you slam them down. So
Or you just punch them. I just punch them. Just punch them first before they can get at you, and then do the ground pound to finish them off. But I do like that. I like when they change up the navigation of those open areas, like when you get the snipers.
Yeah.
Like I thought the snipers were a really cool enemy addition because you had to kind of before, instead of just running to the next spot, you actually had to play a little bit more stealthy, dodge the snipers, take them out so you can get into buildings. They do that later with the ivy plants.
I hate the plants.
Yeah, they're not great, but they at least try to mix things up on those areas.
That's when I realized for my upgrades, I did not put any at this point in health because I'm like, if I'm good at the game, I don't need health upgrades. And then all of a sudden, I have an enemy that will knock out my entire health bar with just if I'm pelted with all those pellets. So if I miss my timing and do the punch on the plants and they're sending their bullets at me, I can die instantly from that. So that's when I was like, all right, so the next 4 upgrade slots are going to be this health, my health. So
yeah,
so I'll need it for a few of those behemoth fights coming up.
Yeah, the behemoths, if they catch you, do a lot of damn damage.
You can get stuck into a corner with them and some guys.
Yeah, they can kind of juggle you a little bit. When you get to the gardens, this is when you kind of surprise Joker, I believe, to shut down his Titan plant. But do we meet Ivy before that?
We meet Ivy near the end of the section.
Okay, so
because that's the clue. We need to leave.
Yeah, to go to Croc's location.
There are some stealth challenges here. The first one with the main garden area is really fun, and there's another one where they do something cool here where there's a guy at the top of the control tower.
Oh yeah, I like
that
this.
has the switch to kill civilians. So you gotta sneak past the other guys to knock the guy down at the top, and then you can go down.
I really like that.
I like this section
That was really cool. I like when they do the stealth stuff and they add little bitty extra to it, and they do that throughout this pretty well. Like they start bombing the gargoyles,
and they don't overuse the gimmicks too much or layer too much on top of each other. So the stealth sections, with the exception of one, are their best in this, where you have to think. It's like, okay, you got the basis for how to use this stealth system, so now we're going to, here's the big open room that you've been before, but we're going to take the gargoyles away. So now what are you going to do? So it encourages you to do the window takedowns or be underneath the grating and do takedowns that way. So
no, I like that a lot. Or hey, you can't take down a guy because it's going to alert them that you're in the room and they'll drop somebody. Yeah, it was really. I really like when they started to make those stealth sections a lot harder. I feel like the stealth sections in this are probably the strongest. The combat got to be a chore.
I agree with that, yes.
Speaking of when you ambush Joker here, they do another behemoth fight.
This is where you fight 2 dudes with Titan. It's you take down 1, now here's 2.
And there's some cool stuff you can ride one of them and smack the other one around and smack the smaller dudes. All that's fun, but it's just I felt like I was just doing fights just to pad the game. And I never felt like that with the stealth stuff. The stealth stuff always when I entered a room and I was okay, I gotta take down these guys in the stealth mode, I was excited. When I just walked into a room and here comes 20 guys, it was oh, okay, shit, let's get through this.
Yeah.
The combat definitely improves in City. Because they start finding new kind of enemy variants, you get guys with riot shields and stuff like that. Where here you only really have the knife guys and the guys with the batons. And occasionally they give guys with guns, they'll mix in there. But if you just beat that one guy up first, usually you're fine.
Or a batarang, or...
Apparently I nearly died. That wasn't me judging your opinion. That was just me choking to death. No, yeah. Batarang the guy with the gun and then go in.
Do you have some of the leapers in combat, or are those mostly kept separate? I can't remember if there was a combat sequence that they had 1 or 2 of those guys.
I never had leapers in with the rest of the guys.
I think they're in the challenge maps where you get them mixed together, but I don't know if in this in these series of combat sections if they have those.
I don't think I ever did. Now, you're playing on hard.
Yeah.
So you might have got them mixed in. I never did.
Okay.
I don't think I did.
I don't remember. I just know I didn't have counter icons.
Yeah.
And those plants hit a lot harder. But
yeah, I think the plants probably... Because I was able to run through them sometimes.
I was not. If I run through 2, I'm dead. So
there was times where I was like, I just don't want to deal with these. I'm just going to run. Sometimes I outrun them. Sometimes I won't.
That's what I tried to do. It didn't work.
Yeah. You stop... I feel like once the story becomes about Titan, it kind of takes a downturn.
You're not meeting any new interesting characters. You're not seeing any new takes on like this Arkham universe. It's just like, here's Titan. You're gonna fight a lot of enemies with Titan, and they're gonna say the word Titan every other sentence of this.
Yeah, I feel like once the story becomes about Joker and Titan, I lose a lot of my like deep passion for the story. I really think they didn't need that. It could have been just about Batman being locked in the asylum, having to put things right, and then at the end you have to bring down Joker, king of the asylum, and take back over.
Because there's an escalation even like in Batman comics, especially some where it's like, the main conflict doesn't become about defeating Batman anymore. It becomes, I'm gonna destroy Gotham City, and it's like, all right, cool.
That's a comic problem.
Yeah.
A lot of comics, it's the glowing beam in the sky.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's a major problem I've found recently.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the reasons why I've fallen off of superhero comics. Is almost every story ends with a glowing beam in the sky. A lot of superhero movies fall into this.
I immediately thought of the Amazing Spider-Man, where it's the beam in the sky, and there's a leveling bar that Gwen Stacy has to put out that says like lizard transformation in progress. I'm like, this is so stupid.
Suicide Squad. The first Suicide Squad had a beam in the sky. The Avengers had a beam in the sky. Like, I don't want to... My story doesn't need a big MacGuffin. Sometimes the story can be about two people having a conflict, and I think this would have been better if it was just like, Joker decides the best way to kill Batman is to lock him in the asylum with him and all of his villains. And Batman has to overcome all of his villains and set things right in the asylum. And at the end, you show down with Joker and you beat Joker and you throw him in his cell and haha, but I bested you. It doesn't need to be about like a big MacGuffin weapon. And Titan is that MacGuffin weapon where it's like, oh, but it's the Titan. And it's like, once it became about Titan.
It's highly corrosive. This is going to do something to Gotham. I was like, is his plan to turn Gotham into giant like Titan creatures,
or is it to corrode,
or is it corrode, or does it corrode the city? Like, it's never fully spelled out, but it doesn't really need to be, because if they took the time to explain his grandmaster plan, my eyes would have just glazed over at that point.
I really realized from a story point of view, things take a massive downturn when it becomes about Titan.
It's mostly now the story is go here, get the thing. Leave, now go here, get the thing.
Exactly.
Leave, go here, get the thing. But there's some individual moments in this section that we haven't got to that are freaking great.
Yeah,
and some of the highlights of this game.
Let's get to some of those, because I feel like this is a very negative show. And feel free to cut some of my bitching about Skyward Sword, because some of that was just me sitting there being like, I don't know if I care about Skyward Sword. But I sit here and you stop Joker's little Titan production facility. You meet Ivy, you get information that Ivy basically says, hey, there's a plant in
my
the
babies
sewers,
are crying.
And you got to go there, and it's not really even explained why there's a plant.
Because you got to go somewhere else. We have a detailed crocodile that you need to go deal with.
Wouldn't it have been cooler, though, to like have Joker blow an elevator while you were coming after him and you end up in the sewers?
Yeah.
Like, you just don't need to make it about one big threat. Sometimes it can just be like Batman's chasing Joker and Joker blows the floor out from under him, and now you're in the sewers with Croc. I feel like they rely on that very heavily. I think before that, though, we get another Scarecrow sequence, don't we?
No,
yes.
There is before that. But before that, you go to Arkham Mansion, get a thing, and then I don't remember what you get. You get something from cash and then you leave.
He gives you like basically information about how to get. He gives you like information about how to get down to Croc.
That's right.
And then it becomes not necessary because you do the Scarecrow stuff.
Well, we could about
and that leads you to Croc.
Well, we could about 15 more minutes, so that should look good on a box.
It was very padding feeling. I would sit there. I was like, why did I come all the way here?
Because you have to use the line launcher to get past those plants in a puzzle that didn't. I feel like I cheesed that solution because I fell in the mist and then ended up where I wanted to go.
Yeah, those times if you get farther enough, it'll just let you pop back up on the other side. Also, I found a way to get there without having to use the line launcher because I could glide, and it was causing me to kick into like escape thing, even though I clearly was on the steps. That was frustrating. I was like, it's not my problem that, I just didn't solve it in your way. I solved it. But, yeah, it's a whole lot of nothing. That's why we're kind of bypassing it, because it's not really interesting. But we get... I'm sorry. Yeah, we get another Scarecrow stuff here.
Yeah, we do the gargoyle bit that we already touched on, and then you're just walking through, and the game freaks out.
I love this
Which we had a lot of weather this weekend, so I didn't think my game just froze. It got me.
Yeah, there was a hurricane that came through, so... But, no... It's a great sequence. I love the replaying of the sequence from the beginning as Joker driving Batman to the asylum and like walking through as Joker with Harley, and having Batman be it's the entire opening or a shorter version of the opening sequence with Batman and all the villains. Like ventriloquist is on the screen talking as Sharp, basically.
Yeah.
it was really, really good. It's one of the Scarecrow stuff is really good here. I like a lot of the Scarecrow stuff.
He might be some of the highlights of the game for me.
Yeah, he really is good. And once again, you don't need Titan to have Scarecrow here. Just have this be about Batman dealing with the asylum, and he keeps running into Scarecrow. And eventually he has to find a way to stop him.
You mentioned Sharp. I realized after I did the editing last time that I talked about a voice actor whose performance I didn't necessarily love that I actually did not mention on the last show. It was Sharp. Pip pip cheerio.
Yeah, he's very...
I'm the asylum guy.
He's almost...
It's too much.
Yeah, he's so over the top.
That was the one I realized I forgot to touch on that, but
no, I 100% agree with you though. Okay. It's not very good.
Anyway, you get Joker. You go back once he unveils like the mask. It goes to your perspective as Joker shoots you, and you get a game over screen. And you're like, is this a trick or did I really get a game over? Because the tip section, I had to think about for a section. It says use the middle stick to dodge Joker's gunfire. So you're like, oh, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's a good bit.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. That actually, I didn't pick up on that. That's really good. But then you do a lot of the Scarecrow sequences here. I think those are fine. They go back to the well of that a couple of times, but
This is one too many. This one feels like one too many. Like this should have been a shorter. See, it should have been. They should have cut the stealth sequence here and just done like the little mini boss fight thing.
Yes, where you have to fight the guys and shut on the different lights. Yeah, the stealth sequence at this point you get the drift of it. You get it. It's been a long fucking day. But you get it. And yeah, I don't need to do it again. But the boss fight would have been fine. Just leave it there. A little bit editing on this would have been okay. But I like that it leads you to Croc's location. Almost like you didn't need to do all the other bullshit before you got here. Because you are chasing Scarecrow down into the sewers. And then Scarecrow, of course, gets attacked by Croc.
He gets got.
And I like the fact that, spoiler to the end, but he gets a little stinger at the end, like, I'm still alive,
See you in 2 games.
Yeah, I was like, y'all really think there's going to be Scarecrow next time, don't y'all? But it leads you to another super strong section here, which is Croc's lair, which I really, really enjoy.
They build up Croc to be like the most threatening and the most dangerous of Batman's foes in the asylum.
And it works.
Yeah, this section's tense.
Walking slowly, try not to trigger Croc. When you do trigger him, throwing the Batarang real quick to hit him in the...
Because he's fast. You got to be on your
Yeah, he
guard
comes
for
out
that.
of different directions. Those times where it'll just attack you from below and you have to just take off running and dodge him that way.
It lasts just long, and it's not too short, but it doesn't last too long to overstay its welcome. And then when you have to do that long trek back, that feels good because it's really tense.
It makes Batman look super intelligent because he does the big explosion
At the beginning before you go in.
And instantly I realized how that was going to work. And at first I actually tried to trigger Croc and get him to run in. He won't follow me in. But I like that fact of like Batman's thinking like 2 steps ahead. And so here he triggers it and tries to and gets Croc to run over it, and you blow it at the last second to take care of Croc.
You can use the line launcher to skip to move faster through sections.
Oh, I didn't do that, but that's pretty cool, yeah.
Because you're not touching the floor, but at the same time, you have a less of a window whenever he attacks because you got to jump down and be ready for that. That's one way that you can move faster. So you can also, you don't have to walk slow, you can crouch and move at a normal speed too. So there's multiple ways to go about this. This section is really cool, really tense. I really like it.
It's really good. The last, I think, major highlight of the game.
We'll get it. I think there's one more decent one, but this is the highest point from this point on.
Yeah.
I wrote, haha, this is the well sequence from Sonic Adventure, because there's a bit where you're running towards the camera and Croc is knocking out pillars behind you. So.
But it's so good.
It's
so good. I like it. I really like the Croc sequence. I think it looks good.
I kind of want to take that and edit the music from Sonic Adventure 1 in that
Probably
sequence.
Should,
It'd be fun.
After getting the magic MacGuffin plants, we go back to our little makeshift bat cave and make a cure.
Also, Ivy's roots are everywhere.
Ivy got the Titan. She got Titan, so she got super buffed up. So now all of her plants are taking over the island.
We gotta go back to the bat cave and get the Ultra Bat Claw.
Our kind of last big upgrade. Now there's a couple of optional upgrades, like the Sonic Batarang and things like that.
And the Remote Control Batarang.
This is kind of cool.
Sonic Batarang is a bit hit or miss. Is sometimes enemies will go to it, but if they're on a different floor, but right underneath it, they won't hear it and go. I can never get a grasp for which enemy I was going to lure with that thing.
Yeah, it was kind of hit or miss. The whole plants that taking over the island was cool. The plant enemies aren't great. We get attacked at the Batcave by plants.
There's a good line here where Batman is relaying information to Oracle, and Oracle's just what now? It's pretty good. And she does research, and my favorite Batman line is here. It's really small, but Oracle says, "I'm not sure if you're ready to hear this." And Batman says, "No, but go ahead."
Yeah. There's a cool moment we did skip over where Batman calls in the Batwing to bring in the line launcher.
Yeah.
And it's a cool sequence where it flies in over the glass overhang, and shoots it through in a missile. It's so extra to drop this one piece of equipment, but it works.
Batman has a flair for the dramatic. It works for him.
He likes it. Even when he does the Croc thing, he draws a gigantic bat.
It could have just been just a scribble or something. It has to be a bat.
He loves marketing.
I didn't like the stealth sequence here, where you have to use the sonic frequencer to disable as there's 2 layers of guys here. It's in the caves. It's the one stealth sequence.
I know what you're talking about.
You go left or right. Left is the left and right. The left is the combat sequence where you have 2. The right is the stealth sequence.
It's the 2 control rooms.
Yeah, I could not wrap my head around this one. For some reason, the layout, I got seen no matter where I was doing a stealth takedown.
If you come into that initial room, there's a guy who walks beyond that first opening.
Yeah.
And you want to grab him and do the stealth check takedown, but there's too many angles on him. But then entering the room with him there, you're going to get seen. I did it, but it was very sloppy. It was a very sloppy kind of way of doing it. I didn't. It felt like there was just a little bit too many angles and not enough opportunity for you to do stealth. There is a couple of spots where you can take down walls in there that could make it a little bit easier, but I felt like getting to them was a little bit tough.
Because I would, multiple times, because it took me a long time to nail. I lined up 3 of them next to a wall where the Riddler trophy was in the corner here. I pulled it down going, I'm not going to knock all these dudes out. They just got alerted. It didn't knock anybody out. I was like, why didn't that work? That should have worked.
No, it was not my favorite. And the other one's just
you had to get the angle right for the wall in the middle when you're doing the explosive gel, because sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But once I got that, it didn't feel good. It felt sloppy. Me doing that, I was like, man, if they just had like a wall or another divider here, this would have fixed some problems. But this was the weakest stealth section, I thought.
And then the other one's not great either. It just locks you in a room and makes you fight titans and goons. It was just, I feel like this was very much padding again.
Yeah.
That's the story of this second half of this game, is a lot of padding. You shut down the 2 control rooms, and now you have to go take down Ivy. The process of getting to Ivy is just kind of frustrating because you have all those plants around.
I'm an idiot and spent way too long in the entryway of the gardens, because you walk in, there's a plant dying here, so I thought, I'm not supposed to be, I have to find another way. So I walk around the entire botanical gardens going, where am I supposed to go? So I did the cardinal sin of looking it up, going, where? I don't remember this. I'm trying to get through this. And then it was like, go left, you idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Turn around.
I felt so stupid. It's right in the door. I just didn't look left to see the entryway.
Yes and no, but like, how many times is that a problem in games where it's like the way to go is hidden behind like a bookshelf?
And the game at several points in this very game, you walk in and you're blocked, and you have to be like, gotta find another way out.
There's times where like you walk in and Harley's there, like, you can't come in here, B-man. Like, the game does that, so it's kind of taught you to have to figure that kind of stuff out. The Ivy fight is pretty good. The concept that you're just like dodging her attacks, it's like a side-scrolling level, throwing batarangs into which she opens up her plant.
In terms of boss fights, this might be the best boss fight in the game. If you don't call the Killer Croc section a boss fight, this I think is the best boss fight in the game, because it requires, not only is it a bunch of like waves of goons, there's also like strategy here and dodging the plant's attacks and everything. You can, if you have free reign a bit, you can just throw batarangs at the armored section and you'll chip off a little bit of health each time to make it easier. Yeah. But this was a little difficult and hard since the camera is so pulled back. It's hard to tell when enemies are going for that punch or if they're just like repositioning. Yeah. So that took me a couple times after the main thing, but it always felt like, that was my fault here. It didn't feel like
I would say it's if you don't consider Croc a boss fight, it's definitely up there. I think Bane's boss fight wasn't bad,
because that was before we had Fatigue of the Titans. And you're like, this is fun, yeah.
Bane was fine because he's a named character, and I thought that was fine. Now, but like in hindsight, after all the Titan fights, it loses its specialness. Yeah. But no, I think it's fine. I like the fact that you put the gel on the casing right in front of her and then blow it up. Like, watch
You
this.
can see her go freak
She's
out.
She's like, no, what are you doing? It's like, you're about to find out, ain't you? I thought it was fine. Yeah, I thought it was a good boss fight.
You leave and there's fireworks. How nice. How quaint.
I like the whole setup for this, where we go to the party room.
This bit is hilarious.
I like that they stop you at the door and like, you gotta have your name on the list.
A, B, let's see, Bane, Batman. You can fight these guys.
I beat the shit out of them.
I thought it was fun just to walk in.
I was like, Batman ain't letting these guys walk away. Like when you walk into the room and they're all cheering for you, I walked all the way to the door, and then I turned around. I was like, before I go in, bam, 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 bam. But man, things go downhill quick. We walk in, Joker. There's a cool sequence at the booth where Joker's sitting there.
It's all first person.
If you go in there before, you can come across that TV there before. Yeah. But here, when he lifts up the TV, it's actually Joker, and it explodes. All that's cool. But when you go in and Joker's on top of his mound of mannequins, and he's got his 2 Titan thugs here.
He has Scarface in his hand.
This could have been fine if you got rid of all the Titan stuff, and that's just where you find Joker at the end. He's on his mountain of mannequins. It's a cool sequence. They made a big throne for himself and all this stuff.
Or if he was introduced another villain, it was like, I couldn't have done this myself, and he hits the button and like.
Or he's got.
Yeah.
Or that's when you deploy Bane. He's like, that's his last line of defense. His last bodyguard is Bane. Or you could have done something like that. But the fact is, and here's 2 Titans to fight. Cool.
With a whole bunch of enemies, and this is where you'll get thrown around in the corner and then smacked.
And I never lost. I lost to I got beat 3 times. But it's never because I was because I was rushing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't care. I was just let's beat these guys and get this over with.
Even Batman in this story is pissed. He's just done with the whole thing. Yeah. He's like, let's wrap this up.
But then you get the ending. Well,
Batman's injected with Titan, but he's Batman, so he resists it long. So Joker acts like he's gonna do the suicide thing and then shoots himself with the Titan, and we all know.
And Batman uses the cure on himself.
He doesn't do that. He does that right before the fight starts.
Yeah, but
this is after Joker turns into a giant
Venom Joker.
I hate this so much.
Okay, so many problems here. One, you don't even really fight him. You just dodge him until he climbs up there to talk to helicopters, and then you pull him down.
And that's it.
3 times.
On hard, I've died to some of these bosses, most of these bosses, once, with the exception of Killer Croc got me a few times. But, I beat this first try. The final boss was the easiest boss in this entire game. Maybe besides Bane, the first boss.
And they
Congratulations.
make him big and venomized, and then he does jack shit.
He has claws that would just go and swing at you 3 times, and then be like, "Well, let me adjust my adoring public."
And he's not even as interesting as the regular Titan enemies.
Yeah.
And they put you in this big arena where it's he's got Gordon as tied up. He's got the helicopters there. He's calling in to witness him killing you. It's got electric walls. It's like a wrestling event.
I bet it was.
And it's just it feels like nothing.
I'm willing to bet it was, but then they realized we can't do another Titan fight here and make it the exact same thing, because that'd
Maybe
be
you shouldn't
way
have
too
done
much.
so many damn Titan fights then.
Exactly.
It seems like you just freaking undercut your boss then. This is probably one of the biggest letdown bosses I've ever seen.
Did you remember this?
Yes.
Stupid.
I remembered it once it started. I was like, oh yeah, he takes the Titan. Wait, nothing happens here. It dawned on me. I was like, this is bad. I don't remember why it's bad, but I remember thinking this is bad. And then when I realized that you just wait for him to talk to helicopters and pull him down. And there's no skill to it. It's not like he turns around and tries to knock the ropes away and you got to do something.
There's no timing there. It's just
no. It's just shoot him, pull him down,
and you can shoot him when there's still enemies on the ground. You don't have to clear out all the enemies to knock him down.
Yeah. So if you want and even if you the enemies, they don't even throw the toughest enemies at you.
They're the basic. There's no knife enemy. There might be one.
There's one, but there's no guys with guns or anything. It's lame. This is a lame ass ending, which is a shame because the game overall was pretty good. But this ending, it was just
the best part is that he calls this a special referee match.
But it's all this build up for nothing. I was just so disappointed. I was just like, yeah, this is not fun. And then the game just kind of ends.
Batman puts explosive gel on his fist to punch Joker.
That was, what would have been cool if that was the mechanic. You had to get dodge Joker or maybe make him run into the electric wall, and then you
take the
spray
time
the stuff on your hand and run up and punch him. Make it a fight between you and Joker, not a bunch of guys and pulling Joker off the wall.
Then as you do that, you're knocked back. So you got to make sure the enemies around you aren't going to take advantage of you while you're knocked down. That's a way to have more strategy.
Or have Joker swinging and he can hit his own guys. So Joker's just coming at you and knocking his own guys over and stuff. It could have been so much better. This was just so...
If you wanted to do a giant behemoth Joker, which, okay, sure, we roped ourselves into this by the writing standpoint.
Yeah.
So might as well
Once
make
again,
the best of it.
It goes back to the key problem is Titan didn't need to be here. We didn't need to be about Titan. Some boring-ass super chemical, It just... Really disappointing. Batman wins. All the villains get locked away. Joker gets locked away. He's not doing so great. We'll see him in Arkham City. Yeah. And Batman goes off to deal with Two-Face.
It's kind of like the ending of Batman Begins, where he's handed the Joker card, and he's like, "I'll look into it," and then flies off.
It was just like, okay. And from what I thought was actually a pretty good game, it just ends on such a down.
I do like, though, at this ending, even though it wraps up really quick, is that it's just another night for Batman. Just another night.
No, that's fine. I like that.
I
do like that. I like the fact that Gordon's like, oh, I hear about Two-Face on the radio, and like he turns around, Batman's already in his Batwing, chasing after Two-Face. That's all fine. I like that this is just a night in Batman's life, but
there's the post-credit scene with Scarecrow. There's a Titan crate floating in the water, and you see Scarecrow's hand reach up and grab it and then pull it down.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay. It makes me wonder if Arkham City is as good as I remember it.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
I hope so.
Don't scare me like that.
I might have to go play some of that just to see.
I love that game.
No,
I consider that to be one of my favorite games of all time.
I remember this game a lot more better than... I think the first half of this game is great.
Yeah.
But boy, I didn't remember it falling apart like this at the end.
Neither did I.
Like, a lot of this just... And I think that's the thing, that's kind of the story of this game, is there's a point in which the game just decides to pat itself over and over and over. And I'm just like, you've lost me here.
The ways it tries to shake up the combat system here aren't as... They'll find much more interesting ways to do it. I feel like there's a lot of ideas on the table. There was, because they said... As we talked about the prep work for the show and everything, that they had so many ideas when they were building this game for the sequel. And I wonder if that hurt this game. Because they're like, oh, that's a cool idea. Don't put it in this game. We can put that in the sequel because that makes sense for what we're planning. The fact that they were already planning the next game while doing this one, it served the next game very, very well. But I think it might have hurt Asylum a bit.
In hindsight, yeah. Because I think at the time, so much of this was so new, it walked. But in hindsight...
Oh, this game was held as one of the best comic book games of
Yeah.
all time, which if you look in the past, yeah, it is.
No, I'm not going to say it's a bad game.
Look at the
by any
previous
means.
Batman games, like Batman Dark Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That game sucked.
No, listen, I think this game is, for the time, was great. I think there's a lot of great stuff in here. I feel like the second half struggles, especially once you get past Croc. There's a couple of good things here and there, but once you get past Croc, you could almost just drop the game at that point.
Yeah.
Because it's
But I wouldn't, because you only have 2 hours left.
Yeah,
at that point,
I'm not saying you would, but if you told me, hey, I played through Croc, should I go back and replay the game to get to the next? And I would probably be like, nah, you got the good stuff. I think Titan is an unnecessary adding to the story. It could have just been Joker in the asylum being Joker. I think this game is good. It holds up well. It's not as good as I thought it was, or I remembered it as. Do you feel like that's a fair assumption?
That is fair. I think I agree with you. Now I'm wondering where this falls in relation to Origins and Night in my mind.
Ooh, I wonder if Origins holds up better than this.
What if it does? What if it does? Because that's something I did not think when I played Origins, but maybe it's one of those things that's better in hindsight.
Possibly. Origins has the advantage of coming in after City.
I am marking that. I'm highlighting that for next season.
That would be a fascinating thing.
Because after we play... Origins was one that I was interested in playing, but after Asylum, I'm like, I have to know. I have to put these on a list together.
Yeah.
And think about my thoughts on both of these.
That would be fascinating. I feel like it's kind of a bummer ending to it, but I think that it was definitely worth revisiting. It's one of the joys of this show to kind of re-put your memories into perspective.
I feel like I had a lot, but because of that, I feel like I had a lot more to say on the second half than the first half, because first half, it's just a great game.
Yeah, no.
That everybody's talked about, that had thoughts about. Breaking down and analyzing the second half makes me go, man, I can see
the
faults and what they managed to patch and make a truly excellent work with City in my mind, because in my mind that's still an excellent work.
Yeah.
What was interesting was when I played Spider-Man, last year for the first time. I love Spider-Man, but I compared that in my mind to being like, all right, that was like the Asylum of this series. But after playing it, it's like, no, Spider-Man is a better game than Asylum. So that might just be because it's newer. I played it on the remastered version on new hardware and stuff and everything. So, but yeah, overall.
Interesting, very interesting.
But I think that one also has the opposite problem where the first half of Spider-Man is good, but then the second half is, like, especially the last third of that game is really freaking great. So, like...
Send them home happy.
Would you rather have a game that... It's a question of, would you rather have a game that is great out of the gate, but then becomes bad when... Not bad. That loses its luster once you finish it? Or do you want something that, like... starts okay and then builds up over time and then is great at the end?
I think the key statement is maybe if something's not adding anything, cut the shit.
Yeah, moral of the story.
Yeah. Stop padding things.
Maybe it's better to have something that might get skewered for being on the short side, but ultimately is better for it in some ways because it's better at standing the test of time ultimately.
And Michael, with your wonderful segue, that means it is time for us to discuss what we will be playing as our next game.
Yes.
Okay, so it is the spooky season. As our tradition, we play a spooky game at spooky season. So what are we playing? What's our spooktacular game for this season?
This is a game I was planning on revisiting a while back, and then we had a show, and I'm like, I'm going to save this before I come back and finish this game for good. A game called Parasite Eve. A bit of a cult classic from the PlayStation days.
Something you've been talking about wanting to do with this from the beginning of the show, back in 2020 when we started. Kind of give me a run through of this game, kind of the history of it, and then why our listeners should be playing along with us on this.
Yeah, because the history of this game is fascinating because this is very much a place in time type of game. So I'm going to be there's a lot of prep work for this, so I'll go ahead and get started. Parasite Eve is a horror action RPG by Squaresoft. During the early 90s, Square was a developer and publisher mostly known for Japanese RPGs. And the games developed by them during this time were exclusively for either the Super Nintendo or the Game Boy. In 1994, Squaresoft released the smash hit Final Fantasy VI, or Final Fantasy III in North America. After the game's completion, the staff had to contemplate where to begin development for the next game in the series. Nintendo's Ultra 64, as it was known in its development, or Sony's upcoming PlayStation. The team gave themselves 3 months to craft a demo, taking a scene from Final Fantasy VI and rendered a 3D CG demo. The demo alone of this small section was 20 megs. Remember, a Nintendo 64 cart was 64 megs, and one scene from the game was a third of that storage space. So the decision was made. From then on out, CD-ROM was the better, more cost-effective solution, because paying for a bigger cart was a lot more expensive than just making a 2-disc or a 3-disc RPG.
Which is something that you just don't think about now, but like, yeah, games used to be not only on being on disc was a big deal, but there was like multiple discs for multiple games. Yeah, it's something to think about.
This meant leaving behind their longtime partner with Nintendo in favor of PlayStation. In 1997, a little game called Final Fantasy VII released and was an absolute smash hit. PS1s sold out in Japan's weeks before the game's release, after the console spent 2 years on the market. So the weeks leading up to it, it was hard to find a PlayStation again in preparation for Final Fantasy VII. In North America, the game sold 1.5 million copies in its first week. RPGs were no longer a niche genre. This was the mainstream now.
The funny thing about that is I just had a core memory get unlocked that I was at like my great-grandmother's house who lived with my great-aunt. And like my great-uncle had Final Fantasy VII on his PlayStation with like Gran Turismo and like Madden. So it's like it crossed over into that level of success that like people who played just like Madden and Gran Turismo and things like that had Final Fantasy VII.
That PlayStation,
it was a weird core memory that was just unlocked.
Yeah, the PlayStation library was weird when you think about it. Everyone had such like the weirdest collection. No two PlayStation libraries were the same. Everyone had like a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, and there was so many really solid PlayStation games that's like you could be the guy who had, like, if you went to your friend's house, he had, like, Twisted Metal and
You're like, oh,
Tomb Raider. And then there's the guy over here who had Tony Hawk and
Metal Gear Solid.
And, yeah, it's just, yeah, it was I think the PlayStation 2 had that also.
Yeah.
And I wish, I don't know if games really has that anymore. That level of, like, everybody, there's just such variety. And everybody, there's so much, there's just variety to everything.
To contrast all of this, the early and mid-90s gave birth to a cultural movement in Japan called J-horror. Fiction such as The Ring and Cure were very popular at this time. During this era, a science fiction horror novel named Parasite Eve by Hideaki Sena received critical and commercial acclaim. Chrono Trigger director Takashi Tokita and Final Fantasy VII producer Hinorobu Sakaguchi set out to make a sequel to the novel. Timing lined up in their eyes. Horror games like Resident Evil were very popular, and RPGs finally have mainstream acclaim, so why not combine the two? Production was split between Square's Japanese and American offices. Computer graphics artist Steve Gray, who's credited for animating the Coca-Cola Polar Bears, was the U.S. development head for the game.
Get me the Polar Bear Man.
Someone in Japan was like, I need this guy.
I just like to see a bunch of, like, really in suits, stereotypical Japanese businessmen be like, get me the Polar Bear Man. Phone rings in California, you're needed.
Famed composer Yoko Shinomura from Street Fighter II, Mario RPG, and the Punisher arcade game composed the soundtrack. The game's FMV sequences were the bulk of the advertising campaign, being used in both the game's reveal at TGS in 1997 and in television ads in the US. The game released in Japan in March of 1998. In the American lead-up, the ESRB gave Parasite Eve an M rating, the first Square game to earn one. Parasite Eve, released in North America on September 9th, 1998, to mostly positive reviews. The main complaint about the game was that it was considered too short by several outlets. How Long to Beat lists the game at about 9.5 hours. Expect to finish the game all the way through in no more than 15 hours is the subheading for Greg Kasavin of GameSpot's review. It's worth noting that Greg Kasavin made Bastion, a game we finished in about 5 hours.
It's funny when you say things on the internet. No, I mean, listen, like, play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
That was part of the review process for, like, EGM and stuff. You factored in the length. Like, it was like, okay, the gameplay. Like, back when they did breakdowns of, like,
replay value
7.5 for gameplay, graphics 8.6. Everything was super broken down, and then length of game was a factor. Like, it's a long game. Congratulations, you get 9 out. You get 9 out of 10.
Even Metal Gear Solid, like a good 10-hour game, was like had to felt the need to put some padding in because I was like, if we can't make an 8-hour a game at full price on 2 discs, that's gonna be crazy.
It's almost like Metal Gear Solid would be better if it was 8 hours.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
It's almost like if you don't have to chase those cards.
Those card keys.
If you don't have to handle those card keys, it'd be a better game. I like Metal Gear Solid.
The game would sell 2 million copies worldwide, over half in Japan, and earn a Greatest Hits re-release. While it did not earn any Game of the Year awards at the time, it was voted as the number 16 best PS1 game by Famitsu readers in 2000. It was also chosen as part of Japan's PS Classic lineup, although it is on mine. Weird how to get there.
Michael, that would be like hacking.
What?
Wouldn't it?
What are you talking about?
Wouldn't that make you a hacker man?
No.
That's what I want. Going forward, I'm going to refer to you as Hacker Man Michael.
This game can be played on the PS1, the PS3, the PSP, and Vita, but it is really easy to play with other means if you're also a hacker man.
If you're a hacker man, if you would like to be a hacker man for this Halloween, there's ways for you to play Parasite Eve.
It is on the PS3 digital store for $6. It is a hassle to get that thing because you can't pay for it directly on the PS3. You have to go to a web browser, put money on your PSN account.
It's that bullshit.
Yeah, because they're like, we can't. It was like the credit card service doesn't work for PS3. We turned off that server, so you're gonna have to tie it to your account if you want to play it.
Yeah.
I have it on my PS3, and I'm lending Eric my disc copy of the game.
You're lending me the disc copy, and then which you got recently for a steal.
For about $30 on eBay. If it stops working, you might have to do that backwards way of getting the pay the $6 and do the workaround. I tried to save you from that. It was one of the ones I wanted a physical copy of anyway.
If it stops working, what do you mean?
It's a PS1 game that's like 25 years old.
Okay.
There's some,
like that.
there's some scratches on the back of the disc.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant.
I tested it. I played about 30 minutes to see if it would work, and I didn't run into any skips or any problems, so you should be fine.
If worse comes to worse, there was a store around here that does disc repair.
Yeah, you get there.
Yeah, I get it.
I got some good. I was weighing if I needed to get resurfaced or not, but yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
The halfway point for this game is an extended flashback sequence in the hospital on day 4. The game is divided up into 6 days, but the exact halfway point is in the middle of day 4. In the hospital dungeon, that's a phrase, there is an extended flashback sequence.
Extended flashback. Do we play through the flashback sequence, or do we stop at the flashback sequence?
You stop after the flashback. The flashback sequence is a in-game cutscene.
Okay.
That will have some pretty big character reveals in it.
So
you will
after
know the one.
the cutscene,
there is a save point in that room. Go to the save point and save, because this is not an auto-save game. This is an old PlayStation RPG.
So after the big flashback cutscene in the hospital
on day
4, we will save the game, and that will be our stopping point.
Yes. Okay. And since this is a PlayStation RPG, do not feel bad about if you need to pull up a map of some dungeons. That is a PS1 game. That has to happen. Yeah. And I would also keep multiple save files.
Like I do that.
2 or 3. Cycle
I do that in modern games.
There's a lot of save points in this game. It's you save at phones because it's a modern day RPG. So every time you see a phone, you can save. So I would cycle between like 2 or 3 save slots just in case you get stuck and you want to go back and like explore the environment for an item or better armor. You can do that.
I like I said, I do that on modern games. I always bounce between at least 2 to 3, so that's not an issue. That's just good. That's just responsible gameplay, is what that is. No, I think this is going to be interesting. It's a game that I have no experience with.
Do you know like anything about this besides this an RPG?
I don't actually know if I want to. I was starting to look up stuff, and then I realized that it'd be more interesting with me going completely blind.
That would be fun to see.
Now, you have read the prequel book.
I have read the book that this game is technically a sequel to. It should not affect your enjoyment of the game or the story, because everything that's going to be told in the book, from my understanding, is going to be explained to the characters of this world. I just wanted to do it so I have background knowledge, and so I can do like a very deep dive if I need to, and explain like, oh, they're referencing this character from the book.
Is the book good?
It's good.
It is good?
It's weird. So it's a like medical drama for 2/3 of it, and then goes full sci-fi horror for the last third. Like body horror stuff, which...
That's cool. Is it a long book, short book?
It a pretty short book. It's like 300 pages, but like 20 pages of it is an appendix. So it was a really fast read. It took me a couple weeks. I'm a slow reader, so...
I might try to read that.
It's available digitally. The physical copy of the book only had 1 run in the United States, and naturally fans of the game want it, so it's a high price, but it is a $10 ebook.
I wonder if it's an audio version.
I'm not sure.
I'll look. I might try to get to it. I got like 3 books running right now, so I might have to put it on the PAL and see if I enjoy the game as much.
You might want to see if you enjoy the game before you dive in.
I'm a sucker for books, though.
But this game is really fascinating, and I thought it was a good fit for the show, both in like its length, and we don't typically get a chance to play a lot of RPGs on the show.
No, we don't, because
they're massive.
Yeah, massive, and we gotta keep things moving. But yeah, I think it's good to play an RPG, and it's also good to fiddle with a game that's kind of a cult classic. There is no sequel to this, right?
There is a sequel.
There is a sequel.
There's Parasite Eve 2 on the PlayStation 1, which not to get too far in the weeds, that plays more like a traditional Resident Evil with some light RPG mechanics. It's like an inverse of the first game. And then there's a third game. We don't talk about the third game. Have you heard of a game called The Third Birthday on the PSP?
Possibly?
That is a PSP game, which, from what I understand, has really good gameplay, but completely ruins the main character.
Oh no!
So
how
everyone
does
just
it ruin the main
I
character?
won't. I'll explain that as we go forward.
Okay.
But
okay. I don't like the way you said that because it's not like just it ruins the main character because it's bad. It was like he does something. Not like I don't know. Okay.
I'll keep it. You want to go? You want to know nothing? You want to
Yeah,
go?
I want to know nothing.
So this will be exciting. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this game because you're either going to be like, "This is really fascinating," or "Michael, I hate this thing.
No,
I hate that you
we'll
make me
see.
play it."
No, I think it'd be interesting. I like to. It's also I don't think we played a PlayStation game this season or a game from that generation. Have we?
I don't think so. We typically I think this is the earliest gen we've gone back. We talked about some Super Nintendo games, but
No,
never
we've played Grim Fandango.
that was 98.
When was this?
98.
98. You know, because we've gone back to the PlayStation before because we did like
Metal Gear
Metal Gear Solid.
I think Metal Gear Solid is technically the earliest.
Yeah,
that we played.
Because I think the earliest would be Metal Gear Solid, and then like Sonic Adventures.
That was 2000 or 2001.
2001. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
1999, 98 is probably the latest we've gone back.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I think it's good to go back and play something from this generation. I think it'd be interesting. I look forward to it. So, extended flashback sequence in day 4 of the hospital. Save after that. That'll be our stopping point. You can check us out at State of the Save on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also send your emails to stateofthesave@gmail.com. Tell us that we need to stop being negative Nancy's and enjoy video games. But no, I think this is going to be a great one. I'm looking forward to playing this. I might fiddle around with it this week. Go ahead and get a jump on things. As always, stay safe out there. See you.